Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedic, go to Brock. You need a roof, you call Parish. Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Ton to get to here on today's Morning Scone. How about them Tigers, y'all? LSU blasts Arkansas 34-10. It was so nice to have just a breather in that series for a while. Um, got a little, not even very, just a little, yeah, in the second half when they got the field goal to start the second half to pull within 16-10. And then Tigers put together what looked like it was going to be a really nice drive. Then, a 19-yard reception by Mason Taylor was wiped out by a holding. After that, you had the OPI on Kyron Lacey. So you're looking at 3rd and 34. You end up punting. And now here you are. You've dominated the game. And 5:04 to play in the third quarter. You're only up 6. They have the ball. If they go down and score, they've got the lead. Now, all of a sudden, things are uncomfortable. What happened the very first play of that drive? Whit Weeks called game. Blitzes, bats the ball in the air, intercepts it, and a play later, Caden Durham was in the end zone. LSU was up 24-10, and that was about all she wrote. Whit ended the next drive as well with a sack, and he has been awesome, man. Whit Weeks, he is your best defensive player, and it's with respect to Braden Swinson, who was awesome and having a great year. Whit Weeks looks every bit the future All-American first-round draft pick, like that type player. He's awesome and has been awesome. So, anyway, what a day for LSU. Not that beating Arkansas is a marquee win or anything like that, but it's just more about the situation, right? You get your emotional win against Ole Miss, and then you have to go on the road. And we talked all week about the spot, and the spot favored Arkansas. Like that's not a knock on LSU. Just the spot favored Arkansas. They were at home, coming off a bye, playing pretty well. LSU, emotional home win, storm the field. Now you got to go on the road, and to do that and to win as emphatically as you did is a sign of a really good team that you're able to just put that behind you and go on to the next. And that's really encouraging for this week, where now that Bama lost again, Georgia beat Texas, you're going to be in everybody's playoff projection. So for LSU, it's going to be a little bit of block out the noise this week, understanding you're no longer kind of playing from behind. People are now going to be favoring you to be in the playoff and to get there. So you got to get there. But what'll be interesting for this week in particular, and we'll talk about the Arkansas game. I don't want to get ahead of myself, start talking about Texas A&M. I'm going to be interested to see if LSU is, when the opening lines come out, if LSU's favored. I'm looking at ESPN's FPI. They've got A&M 52.7% chance of winning, LSU 47.3%. So you probably be it'd be close, but maybe a field goal. Your road dog. So we'll see what it looks like when it opens up. But, maybe that's something that Brian Kelly's able to use to motivate his team in the same way that Kirby was able to with this one. Had Tennessee beating Bama. No surprise. And had Georgia beating Texas. No surprise. I'll say again with Georgia and Texas, man. By the way, I think Texas is really good. I still think Texas is going to be a one-loss team. I think Texas and Georgia are both going to be one-loss teams. They're going to end up in the SEC championship game. But I think before the season, my prediction was we were going to see that game 3 times. Regular season in Austin. We'll see it again in Atlanta, and I think we'll see it in the playoffs somewhere too. I think those are your 2 best teams in college football this year, with respect to Oregon and Ohio State. But I've been telling you, man, everybody just slept on Georgia. Everybody just punted. You forgot Georgia, their roster, Kirby, all of it because of one bad half against Alabama. where they uncharacteristically turned the ball over 3 times and found themselves in a 28-point hole. And everybody focused so much on the first half, and you ignored the second half, not only where Georgia got its offense going, but also where Georgia allowed like 16 rushing yards in the second half. So, which was real. Everybody chose to focus on the first half because Bama ultimately ended up winning the game instead of the 28-point comeback, which was a really, really good indicator of what Alabama and Georgia both are. By the way, Clemson's really good, and Georgia suffocated them. Anyway, all right, we'll say some good morning, y'all. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. We appreciate y'all for being there. All of our great sponsors, they're pinned in the description on YouTube and tagged on Facebook. Remember, with Unique Physique, semaglutide, tirzepatide, the weekly injections for weight loss, no contracts, lowest prices, do the whole thing over telemed. They can ship your medicine anywhere in the country. So Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com. And if you're in Baton Rouge or the area, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. If you got pain, book a session with Crystal Poche. You'll be glad you did. Brad David, good morning. LSU 0399. Caleb, JD, Goose, Greg, good morning. Bama's burning. I got to decide what I'm going to do tomorrow. Do I do a Bama's burning every time they lose, or does it just get repetitive? I don't know. I feel like I have to advance it now. I don't know what to do. Got to think about it today. Brian Turner, LSU weapons on offense are elite. I would really love a deep threat in the wide receiving core, but mostly I agree with you. Woodweek's our best defensive player. Yeah, he is. Goose, good morning. Let's see. Randy, what are your thoughts on the LSU OC? I think Joe Sloan's been awesome. I think it's hard to argue against that when you look at LSU's productivity. I think there's been this sort of fan echo chamber narrative about Sloan this year, and I don't really know where that's from or what you're basing it on. I think that's probably why you asked the question. But, I mean, you lose Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas. You don't have your stretch the field deep threat receiver. Your running game hasn't been, to this point anyway, what we thought it would be, yet you're still 8th in the country in passing yards. You are averaging 34 points a game. I mean, I'm pretty sure before the season started, my point was, look, your offense isn't going to be what it was a year ago. You're not going to be first in college football in scoring and total offense, but can you be top 20 somewhere around? Can you average 35 a game? And if you average 35 a game and your defense is improved, you'll have a chance to beat anyone you play. And I think that's exactly what they've been able to do. So I think Joe Sloan's had a great year. Ryan, good morning. I'm renaming Fayetteville 40s Field. Why? What did I miss? What did I miss there? Catherine, good morning. Hey, David, good morning. Lou, you almost got me. Not doing it. Randall, good morning. Thank God the Saints don't play today. Blake Baker earning that $2 million. You know, it's the last 2 games I think have been really indicative. And if you listen to or watch my Locked On episode today, I gave you 2 big takeaways. One was about finding the running game. 2 was about the defense. And I'd still really appreciate it if you would listen to or watch Locked On LSU today. But I think it's pretty clear, and I'm going to go through PFF, Pro Football Focus, later today, but I think it's pretty clear what they're doing. I'm going to way oversimplify this. They played a really good team against, or they had a big time game. I think USC has waned a little bit, obviously, but they had a big time game in the opener against SC. And so they kind of went with what they thought was best. And that included, like, okay, they played Sage Ryan at corner because, you know, I think he had played a bunch of corner the year before. And so do you run PJ Woodland out there because Alexander wasn't healthy? You know, so it was just like they went, I think, kind of with a little more of a veteran defense with what they felt like they knew. And they played well, by the way. I mean, that's a loss. Yes, you lost the game, but I mean, the game was tied at 10 at halftime. It was tied at 20 with 8 seconds left until they scored. I mean, USC scored 27 points in that game, which was a dramatic improvement. But after that game, they took the next 4 games to play a whole bunch of players at a whole bunch of places because they knew they weren't going to lose. And it almost bit them against South Carolina, quite honestly. Go this way. It almost bit them against South Carolina, but I think they knew they weren't going to lose those 4 games. They felt like they weren't going to lose those 4 games. And so they had the opportunity to rotate and play a whole bunch of players to see who was best where. And after when they beat South Alabama, they went into their open date. They used that time to look at the film to say, okay, who fits best where through this month of games that we've had. What do we think is our best lineup? And they've rolled with that the last 2 weeks, and you've seen a dramatically different defense. And you've seen pared down rotations, and I think it has totally mattered. I mean, yesterday, Arkansas had a total of oh my God, Arkansas only ran 51 plays. I mean, this defense completely dominated, man. God. So again, of course, you put subs in late because you were up big, but Whit Weeks played 46. Zai played 46. Jordan Gilbert played 46. Ashton Stamps played 46. Like, sound familiar? It's the thing we keep telling. Like, they finally looked at their secondary and they just totally pared it down. And they're rolling with who their guys are. And it's Sage and Jordan Gilbert at safety. It's Whit Weeks Major Burns at star, and it's Stamps and Zai at corner. Like, those are their guys. They're rolling with them. When Sage got hurt on the targeting that they waived, they brought Kylan Jackson in for him there. So you're starting to see where your rotations are. When Greg Penn went out with that injury in the first drive of the second half, Devon Keys replaced him. Devon Keys had a fumble recovery last night. So you're starting to see what those effectively, I think they identified who their best guys are in their best spots. They've pared it down dramatically, and the last 2 games they have been dramatically better defensively. I don't even think that's. I mean, through the last 6 quarters in overtime, you've allowed 1 touchdown. I mean, Ole Miss didn't score a touchdown in the second half or overtime, and Arkansas had 1 touchdown yesterday. It was the touchdown in the second quarter on the 25-yard, which was kind of a busted play where I think Stamps thought Taylor Green was gonna run, so he came up, and Gilbert didn't have time to get over, so he was open. But and I don't know who that's on. I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know the play call or anything like that. So whose responsibility was what? But either way, somebody busted there. But that's something you just haven't seen much. Blake Canfield, good morning. Stephen Foyle, good morning from Pennsylvania. Lance, how about Whit Weeks? Awesome again, man. 9 tackles, legend tackles again. He's phenomenal, man. Jason, do you ever sleep? Thank you. Appreciate your kind of. Yeah, man. I mean, I went to bed. So I went to bed last night at about 2. So after Whiskey and Wine, came home, recorded Locked On. It's just so, like, you just can't, when you have opportunities during football season, you just got to go. Like, you can't, you just got to go. Like, when people are looking for content, you have to have your content in front of their face. So yeah, man. I mean, so I did Locked On last night, and then I went to bed at 2 and slept. Drew woke up about 8:30, so got up about 8:30 this morning. Did my cold plunge, got a story posted at LouisianaSports.net, then we fired up here. Alex, good morning. Got my Paris koozie from the St. George Fair. They're awesome. Love it. Thank you so much. Paris Construction and Roofing. Roof repairs, roof replacements, commercial, residential. We'd love to help you. Free, no obligation roofing inspections. ParishBuilt.com. I don't know if y'all saw, but there was a list of roofing companies this week that got a cease and desist about some nefarious activities. I hate it because, like, when stuff like that happens, it tends to touch everybody in the industry. Like, it's just reputationally, but that's why we try to do right by people, man. We don't door knock. Anyway, I don't want to go too deep into it, but bottom line is there are good contractors, and we try to be good contractors. There's a lot of bad ones too, but we try to be good and ethical and do right by people and do good work. And we'd love to help you out. Parishbuilt.com. Chance, anyone O for Tennessee this season? Is anyone O for Tennessee this season? Bama losing to Vanderbilt in Tennessee. Got it. The state of Tennessee. Got it. Jesse Brown, morning, Matt. Great win last night. Should we be concerned with all the false start penalties? Yeah, that's one of those where sometimes an officiating crew is whistle happy or flag happy. And I think that was kind of the point last night. Or not the point. I think that was the case last night. I think that crew, or were they flag happy? LSU had 11 penalties. Arkansas had 7. I mean, 18 penalties in a game is just a lot of stoppages. But in the first half alone, you had an OPI at the goal line, which took a touchdown at the board, which was a good call. False start on Mason Taylor, false start on DJ Chester, false start on Bordelon, who was in as the extra blocker on 3rd and 1. You had an illegal snap on Chester, another false start on Chester, false start on Will Campbell, and a false start on Aaron Anderson. That was 7 procedure penalties in the first half. Now, you cleaned it up in the second half. You had one. You had a false start on Ori Williams at the end of the game. So I don't know who got chewed up and spit out or what adjustment they made at halftime, but they fixed it in the second half. But yes, that was, and it's because it cost you. Like, you know, on your second drive, you're up 7-0 on your second drive. You got a 3rd and 1, and then that's when Bordelon false started to make 3rd and 6. Now you converted with Aaron Anderson because Aaron Anderson's awesome. So you got 1st and 10 at the 18. You get 2 yards, an incomplete pass. So it's 3rd and. Willie the Giant. I'm sorry. The Aaron Anderson false start was. I thought it was a net. They went to Anderson twice. Anyway, you settled for a 33-yard field goal. Where's the other one? This was the other drive. That was crazy. So this sequence. So LSU is right after Arkansas scored. LSU's up 13-7. First down, Kyron had a drop. It was a low pass. We probably should have caught it. 2nd and 10, you get a 6-yard run with Caleb Jackson was awesome yesterday. Really ran hard. 3rd and 4, 8-yard reception to Tradez, which was great to see Tradez get involved. Caleb Jackson runs for 12 yards on first down. So you're moving. You're at the Arkansas 49. Josh Williams for 4 yards. Incomplete pass intended for Tradez. 3rd and 6. They're offside. So now you got 3rd and 1. Great. Will Campbell false starts. Now it's 3rd and 6 again. 3rd and 6. Mason Taylor gets a 10-yard reception on the sideline. Great catch. And you have the personal foul, hands to the face. Great. You're down at their 21. You're in business. You're at their 21. Xavier Thomas for 5 yards. It's 2nd and 5. Aaron Anderson false starts. 2nd and 10. Kyron Lacey for 5 yards. 3rd and 5. Incomplete pass. You settle for a 33-yard field goal. It was just they were costly. You know, there were drive killers. So yeah, I mean, yes. Long way to answer your question. Yes, I'm concerned about that. That's 7.5. It's an outlier because you haven't had that happen. But yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where you got to fix it. What we always say, winning mass deficiencies. You know, we're going to focus on how great the defense was and how great Whit Weeks was, and how you beat them 34-10, and it was a breather, the big picture stuff. But yeah, those are the types of things you got to make sure you fix. Dalton, good morning. Brett, good win by the Tigers, another loss by the Tide. We have Bama burning Grant coming. Well, of course I'm going to do something. I just don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think it's going to be as theatrical as them losing to Vanderbilt. I mean, I led my show with that. So I don't know that I'm going to lead AFR with it, but you better believe I'm going to do something, especially with the Saints not playing today. Got a lot of time to think about it. Blown coverage, impressed, but there were a lot of penalties on the Hog, and the Hogs missed a few opportunities. Nature of a game, though, man. Penalties were a problem. And I don't know where you'd say Arkansas missed opportunities. I would say LSU missed opportunities. I mean, LSU settled for a 33. They settled for 2 33-yard field goals, a 40 and a 47. By the way, had tipped Damian Ramos. I know a lot of people say Ramos, but I've told y'all there's a video pinned to his Twitter account from when he got the job where he said his name Ramos. He said, hey, this is Damian Ramos. So I say Ramos. The kid said Ramos. I'm saying Ramos. How awesome is he? 4 for 4 last night. And every time you needed points, he got you points. And it's so key because I know, think about the Ole Miss game last week after LSU had the tip ball interception and gave Ole Miss the ball at the 13-yard line. And Lane went for it on 4th and 1. LSU stuffed them. They got no points. Think about fundamentally, all else equal, how much that changes the game. I mean, Ole Miss wins in regulation. You don't go to overtime. Ole Miss wins. So I don't think it's binary. Like, obviously, different things would happen. But the point is, every time the scoreboard changes, it changes strategy. It changes decisions on a 3rd and short or a 4th and short. It changes decisions on, do you go for it? Do you kick a field goal? It changes strategy. Do you go for 2 when you score? Do you go for, like, all that changes when the scoreboard changes. So every time Ramos kept making field goals, it just kept adding pressure onto Arkansas. And I mentioned this on Whiskey and Wine last night, it reminded me a lot of Cole Tracy in 2018. That LSU offense in 2018 wasn't great. Remember, Joe Burrow went the entire month of October without a touchdown pass, but Cole Tracy was automatic. I mean, go back and watch the Miami game, the Mississippi State game in the rain, where he was your whole scoring that day. That was the game where Devin White got ejected. The bowl game, obviously the Auburn game. You don't win the Auburn game without Cole Tracy. So sometimes, man, you need guys like that can affect the scoreboard. And Damian Ramos has been so good, man. You know, I'm fond of asking this question sometimes whenever I talk to people who are media that cover other teams. Like, I'll say it like, hey, baby, let me see. All right, you want to come say hi to Dad show? Let me see, we done? Yep, we're done. Yay. Okay. Okay, well, can we say hi to Dad show real quick? And then you go watch your iPad. Wait. We gotta sit off your backpack. Hold on. Wait. Where you going? Still. Okay. All right, come say hi to Dad show. Here comes that. Yep, you did. He just ran away from me. He was going to try to catch him. As soon as I unhooked that thing, boom, he ran. All right. I forgot where we were. Let's just keep going. LSU, Alabama really should be 3-4 right now. They certainly, I mean, Georgia and South Carolina were 50-50 games. But like I said, man, welcome to your Les Miles experience. John Duce, and listen, people get confused. Les is a great coach, man. You know, like I believe Les Miles should be in the College Football Hall of Fame. And you can roll your eyes at that, but the man won a national championship. He played for a second, should have won a second, but for Alabama getting a second shot they didn't deserve. Won 2 SEC titles, played for a third, won an average of 9 games a year in the same division as Nick Saban. Like, Les was idiosyncratic. He had a lot of flaws, no doubt, but he did a lot of things really well. He hired great assistant coaches. He was a great recruiter. He knew how to win games. His undoing was his unwillingness to bend offensively, and the fact that he was in the same division as Nick Saban, but he still won as much as anybody. So, when I say that, I don't mean that as a knock to Les, but there were a lot of Saturdays where we watched games and wondered, how in the world did they pull that off? Where you won and you were upset because of how you won, or they lost and you were indignant because they had no business losing. And that happened a lot. And I think that's what Alabama has with Kalen DeBoer. I mean, it's so reminiscent of that. Hey, Dane, good morning. Great seeing the crew at Don Juan's. Always good to see you, man. Thanks for making the drive. Dane drives in from Lake Charles. Awesome dude. Special Forces. Such a good guy, man. Love getting to see Dana and our whole crew, man. Chuck was there last night. Chuck hadn't been there in a while. I think told me he'd been in Atlanta. I know he'd been in Atlanta, but got to see Jerry last week. Just appreciate our crew, man. Scott, everybody who comes out to Don Juan. We got our regulars, and there's a lot of people come out for the first time. I know during the game, I'm no fun during the game because I'm sitting there charting. But we have a good time, man. It's so much fun doing the show at Don Juan, and you know the vibes are great, the people are great. Just appreciate everybody, man. That's been such a great thing. I mean, I know it's been great for Don Juan, and people. I get asked all the time about business. Hey, would y'all do whiskey and wine at our place? I'm like, no, like I don't think Don Juan has ever let that show go. Let's see. Roll Tide 99. Thanks for allowing me to reference you in my yesterday Deborah win games. The days of being automatic favorite are over. That's true. I mean, Jeb, morning. Let's see. Defense was bending, not breaking, turning the ball over. Really encouraging without the pass rush going off. Felt weird not being super stretched in the second half. Jeb, I wouldn't even say that was a bend, don't break. Arkansas put up 277 total yards. Like, brother, that was, that wasn't bend, don't break. That was a really dominant defensive performance, man. I'm not trying to get into like a semantics argument. Especially the second half. I don't know if Arkansas had 100 yards of offense. I'm pulling up the splits here. In the second half, that's the wrong game. What am I doing? Stupid. Here we go. Here we go. Load. All right, here we go. So, yeah, Arkansas in the second half had 101 total yards. 176 in the first half, 101 in the second half. Like, one thing I think we have consistently seen with this defense is they, in the second half, especially when they go make adjustments, they are dramatic. I mean, they have been really good in the second half of games. 101 total yards in the second half for Arkansas. I mean, and LSU dominated time of possession as well. I mean, let me check again, it was 38 minutes, 38-51 to 21-09. I mean, you held the ball for almost 39 minutes. They ran 51 total plays. I mean, that's what you want to help your defense possess the football. I mean, Arkansas ran 51 plays. You want to go help your defense? You want to help your defense as an offense? Establish a running game. That's why LSU finding the running game yesterday was so key. I mean, the drive that punctuated it in the fourth quarter, LSU gets the ball at the 10:42 mark. They go on a 14-play, 80-yard drive that eats 8:22 off the clock, and you threw the ball twice. The only two passes were 3rd and 7 to Aaron Anderson. That was the low ball that they hurried up and snapped it on the next play. That they reviewed it, who knows? And then they threw on 3rd and 1. They completed a 3-yard pass to Mason Taylor. I mean, the running game, the defense, really encouraging. JD Weeks is the money badger. Kevin looking at the next year. Anyone you see staying or going, specifically Nuss and Perk? I think so, yes. Well, you sound like you're feeling better. Good. Erica wasn't feeling good yesterday. I mean, she was like on the couch, like just not doing great yesterday. She's live right now. Let's see, Nuss and Perkins. Approaching 500 people watching live. I love that. Please smash the like button if you would, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all so much. Look, if Nuss is a first round pick, and by the way, you're starting to see that more and more. Every mock draft I see now has Nuss in the first round. If he's a first rounder, he will and should go. Perkins, I think, is a little more interesting. I think you're starting to see the opposite. I think you're seeing him fall out of first round projections. A lot of it is going to be: is there a team? What does he want to do? And is there a team that values his skill set and knows how to use him? And then, of course, what does the medical show? How's his ACL rehab going? Let's see. C. Trey, most complete game of the season, still room for improvement. Brian Penton, good morning from St. Louis. Joseph Fallsgraf, what's the difference between discerning signals and the shift the Arkansas was doing? Yeah, no, good question. So so not discerning, but it's disconcerting signals. But so that's whenever you make a sound. So like if you audibly clap or try to mimic the snap count to make somebody to make the offense jump. What the defensive line shift is something that everybody at every level of football does pre-snap. You line up, and then before the ball is snapped, you shift so as to give the offense a different look than what they think they're blocking. I mean, I can remember a lot of times. I mean, again, it's not a glory days thing, but like I played right guard in high school, right? So you come to the line. If I knew the ball was going in the A gap, like to my left, and there's a tackle in the gap, and there's a linebacker at the second level, I may talk to the center and say combo, right? And so it's, hey, you come across his face, I'll push him in, I'll get to the next level, and I'll wall the linebacker, we'll create the hole. Or you call like a gill, guard in, center around, or whatever. Anyway, but the point is you have that set, and then if right before the snap they shift, well, that changes. And so now you have to think quickly. So shifting, everybody shifts. What the rule is the motion has to be a natural motion associated with football. So like if you're just shifting parallel to the line, that's okay, whatever. You could do that. Like I remember Brian Kelly explained early in the season, Savion Jones got flagged one time. It was a good call because when he shifted, he did his arms like this. Well, when you're standing and you do that, it looks like you're running. And so they're saying, look, you were trying to draw the offensive lineman off. And that was a good call. So you could shift. It just has to be a natural movement in football. So, and then you can't clap or yell signals or anything like that. That's mimicking the snap count to try to make them jump. All right, please smash the like button if you would subscribe to the channel. Make defense great again. I told you before the season, LSU would be going to A&M to play for first place in the SEC. Oh, if I told you, what would you have thought? So I picked LSU. If just going back to my preseason, I picked LSU 10-2, but I had them beating USC. So when they lost to SC, I think it was fair if I'd recalibrate to 9-3 because I had them winning that game. So I was wrong about that game. But I did have LSU beating Ole Miss and Alabama. My projection was that they would lose at A&M because of the spot. Back-to-back road conference games, 3 straight SEC games, all the stuff that we've talked about. I had them losing to A&M and then dropping another one somewhere that you didn't anticipate losing. Florida's the one that I circled because I don't think it's easy to win at Florida, and it's the week after Bama, letdown spot, all that stuff. Y'all hear me say it all the time, not just who you play, but when where you play them. So anyway, long way to say this, make defense great again. But to answer your question, I had them beating Ole Miss and Arkansas. So I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd have been at this spot going on the road. Like if you asked me before the season, because that's what I projected. Now I don't know what everybody else would have done if there would have been tiebreakers or anything like that. But yeah, I mean that doesn't surprise me. They should have beaten South Carolina, and I had them beating Ole Miss at home and Arkansas. So the fact that they're 3-0 in the league, that's where I thought they'd be. This is the one that before the season started, I had them losing. was at A&M. So let's see how it goes, man. I think A&M, but how about this? Maybe this is even a better one. How about after week 1? Don't say before the season. Say week 1, because remember, week 1, LSU loses to SC. A&M lost on its home field to Notre Dame, and Connor Wegman looked like poo-poo. Go back after week 1 and say, hey, A&M and LSU are going to be the only undefeated teams in the SEC record, the only undefeated teams in the SEC when they play at Kyle Field in October. I don't think anybody would have had that. Kevin Winslow, good morning. Kevin, let's see. Getting better with growing pains. Bit too conservative with a lead. I think you leave some opportunities out there. Put foot on the gas. Jeb, honky badger. Thomas Primo, morning, Matt. The penalties need to get cleaned up. Did it feel like a lot of Arkansas completions were wide open? Was that misassignments or guys getting open? That I don't know, Thomas. I mean, that's something that you'd have to go back and look at film study, and really hard to tell from watching the game. But I mean, Bobby Petrino is a really good coach, y'all. I'm not surprised Bobby Petrino could scheme guys open if that's what was happening. But at the same time, I'd turn around and go, Blake Baker, his defense held Arkansas to 10 points and under 300 yards of total offense. Hey, Brant, if Tigers get a win next weekend, LSU's in first place in the SEC. Who would have thunk it? Brad, what do you think about Illinois' uniforms? I don't know that I saw them, man. I need to go back and look. Hey, Abner, good morning. Charlie, good morning. Man, I am so far behind. Melody, good morning. Jordan, DraftKings has LSU +3. Okay, that makes sense. That's what I said about a field goal. A&M should be about a field goal. Neutral site, push. Give A&M 3 points at home. Ryan. John, my biggest concern was the pressure from the Arkansas defensive line. Nuss had a lot of plays blow up due to pressure. You know, sometimes, like one of them, for example, there was one play where LSU was setting up a screen and Jackson was coming off the left end, and Campbell let him come. I don't know if he thought he had help or whatever the case was. Sometimes that could be communication. I think there was one play where I saw Landon Jackson beat Will Campbell, and Nuss got, it was the play where Nuss got it all. It was backside, and Nuss got the ball off and got hit right after he let it go. But that was the one play that I saw. Let me look at, I'm looking at the PFF grades right now. I'll tell you, let's see, our Kansas game reports. So the high, all right, this is something else I want to say. The highest graded player for LSU in the game was CJ Daniels, offensively, was CJ Daniels. And all last week I told you, if you were here, the LSU coaches love CJ Daniels. He never drops the ball, and he is their best blocker. He was the highest graded offensive player. The second highest graded offensive player was Will Campbell. His pass block grade was 73.5. His run block grade was an 80. So overall 76.5. And then let me look for Emory Jones. Emory had a rough day, according to Pro Football Focus. He graded out at 52, which was the third lowest, and Chester graded at a 45.6, which was the second low. Again, among starters, Chester was the lowest. Emory Jones was the second lowest. So to have the type of day you did, let's see, Chester had a 73.8 pass block grade and a 51 run block grade. Emory had a 62 pass block and a 52 run block grade. But Miles Frazier, Will Campbell was your second highest graded player, and Miles Frazier graded out really well. 88.1 in pass block, 59.1 in run block. And then let's see. Dellinger was your third. So Daniels, Campbell, Dellinger were your three highest. So Campbell and Dellinger, the left side of your line was awesome last night, effectively. All right, please smash the like button if you would. Lewoski, good morning. I'm really far behind y'all. Let me do this. Let me just jump to the bottom and sort of work my way up to catch up on some of y'all here. Alex, God bless Georgia for realigning the SEC by sticking it to Texas. Um, Mario, we need Hilton back. We've talked about it so much. I would love to see Hilton back. He didn't travel. He was obviously a scratch, so he didn't travel with the team. You know, I'll just look at it and say, whenever you get him back, I'll be excited when you do. But until he's back, I don't know that you can expect it. Let's see. LSU could definitely make the SEC championship game, not just Texas or Georgia. Absolutely. I mean, think of it this way: if you have 5 games remaining, you have a game to play with. If you lose one of your next 5, you're 7-1. Now, there could be tiebreakers that come into play, and I'm not going to start to delve into the math of the tiebreakers yet because there's way too many games to play. But yeah, I mean, you have a game to play with. It could be 10-2 overall, 7-1 in the league, and in the SEC championship game. The real question becomes, if you do drop a game and you're 7-1, 10-2 overall, do you want to go to the SEC championship game? Because there's 2 ways to look at this. If you go to the SEC championship game and win, awesome. You're one of the top 4 seeds and you get a bye. Because remember, the top 4 conference champions get a bye. So again, it's not ranking, it's seeding. Ryan. Oh, Gary. So that's something I think a lot of people are going to have to get used to. It's not just the committee rankings. The top 4 conference champs are so you could be like the Big 12 champion could be ranked 9th, but they are going to be a top 4 seed in the playoff with a bye. So like if you're LSU, you could think of it those ways. You could be 10-2, go to Atlanta, win, and you're a top 4 seed with a bye. But if you're 10-2, you go to Atlanta, lose, fall to 10-3, are you out of the playoff altogether? That would suck, but that's a scenario that I think could happen for an SEC team or for any team. And I'll remind you, it happened last year to Georgia. I know it was a 14 playoff, but Georgia was undefeated, number 1 in the country. They were the best team in college football all year. They go to Atlanta. They get upset by Alabama. They're out of the playoff altogether. I mean, the committee will find a path of least resistance. And that's the scenario that for me gives me pause, is being 10-2, going to Atlanta, losing, being 10-3, and being left out. That's the scenario that you got to avoid. Christian, speaking of CJ, was a half-inch away from an all-time catch. The one behind his head where he pulled the helmet off, that was crazy. Good morning from Santa Fe. Hey, George, good morning. What is the situation with West Weeks? So West Weeks was dressed yesterday. He has a foot injury. Gary. He has a foot injury. He was back against South Alabama, played just 1 series, took himself out, missed the Ole Miss game. He has played one second. Was it not the South Alabama? Was the UCLA game that he played? No, there he is. He played South Alabama. He played 4 snaps against South Alabama. Hang on. So he's only played 3 games on the season. He played USC, Nichols, and then returned for South Alabama. So he's only played in 3 games so far. I know there was a report last week that he was going to redshirt, but he was dressed yesterday. So he traveled and was dressed. So he is available to play. But when Greg Penn got injured, it was Devon Keys that went in, and Xavier Atkins played as well. So it could be a scenario where he could play in 1 more game where they're trying to preserve his redshirt season so he could come back next year. I'll ask Brian Kelly tomorrow, try to get clarification on that. But I also look at, man, the more you keep winning, the more you're playing for. And, like, Gary, it's a blow. The more you keep playing, the more you're playing for. Like you saw the scenario yesterday where Greg Penn, it was the third and 10. Oh no, what happened? Don't go anywhere. Well, this hadn't happened in a minute. It's weird. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, that hadn't happened in a while. So it was 3rd and 10. I got a new camera. That shouldn't be happening. It was 3rd and 10. They got the 11-yard. That was the play where Penn got hurt. Said it was like Kelly said it was like his hip point or something like that. So he comes out and Devon Keys goes in. So you got a true freshman going in the game right there. Like you are thin at linebacker. I mean, you've got Witt and Penn, and after that, it's Keys and Atkins if West doesn't play. So maybe they try to get by and maintain West's redshirt year, so he could come back and play another season next year. Or I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But he traveled, he was dressed, and he was available. And you're limited on your travel roster in the SEC. So it's not like you're bringing a guy just because. You're bringing him with the idea that he could play if you need him. It's not like your non-conference home games, you could dress everybody. But on your travel roster, you're limited on numbers. So the fact that they brought him tells you they play him if they and dressed him, tells you they play him if they needed him. But I guess it was one of those where you didn't need him yesterday. We'll see. CJ Daniels, wide receiver 1. I don't know if y'all listened to any of our content last week, Locked on LSU, AFR, whatever. We talked about it so much. They love CJ Daniels. He catches everything. He's their best blocker. We went through the snap counts last week. Even like the most glaring one was South Carolina, which was the game where you had to have it. He was on the field for 74 snaps. The next highest was Kyron at 61. Aaron Anderson and Xavion were in like the 20-30 range. Like he's on the field every play because they trust him. He knows the routes to run. He catches everything. He blocks. He's not flashy, but I think he is probably their most complete receiver. Let's see. Jaleel, Morning Mad Bama's no longer burning. It's full on blaze. Cortland, CJ was fantastic. He was great. He caught everything, man. Strong hands, just great. Sarah, I formation linebacker pre-snap sets were interesting. DJ Travel Gaming ranked Army. Yeah, how about that? Oh, sorry. I'm missing something. That had to be it. I'm going backwards. Charles, I thought Georgia were a more physical team than Texas. Who could have seen that coming? Let's see. Wegman from A&M has 500 passing yards the entire season. Well, he was also injured. He missed 3 games. Marcel Reed played for them. He only returned the week before their bye for the Missouri game. All right, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Richard, what a solid, complete win. Post-game show was fun last night. All I want for the season is a chance. We have a chance, no doubt. James Brew, do you think conference championship games will cost conference teams in the playoffs? What I just talked about. I'm a good Catholic man. Watching T-Bob hump a pig was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. In fairness, it was just an inflatable pig. If you missed the beginning of Whiskey and Wine. T-Bob this year has started to get a bit theatrical. Yeah, I don't know what is happening anymore. It's like he keeps trying to every week, tries to come up with something else. So like, what are you gonna do for A&M? He's like, I don't know, get somebody in a milkman outfit and just beat the mess out of him. I'm like, okay. So that's my cousin Nick. Good morning from the heart of the bonfire. What a great day to be a Tiger. Nick lives in Alabama. And by the way, it's my cousin Nick, who is a very, very diehard LSU fan. But his wife, Allie, who is wonderful, love her to death, is an Alabama fan, and they live in Alabama. So Nick, I'm certain, is having a wonderful, wonderful morning with Bama losing to Tennessee and LSU undefeated in the SEC. Oh, man. Trivia, good morning. I'll tell her. Let's see. Jonathan Martin, what's going on? All right, let me go back down. See, I think we were caught up a little bit here. Oh, man. Hang on. All right. Oh, wait. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Go this way. Here we go. I'm back to the start. Let's see. All right, let's see. Gulf South. Yo, is Sloan calling plays where the first and second reads are deep balls, or is Nuss saying he wants to throw a deep ball game? 1 point Nuss was 111, passes 0 to 10 yards. Let's see. I'll look at his passing chart for last night if you want me to. All right. Passing pressure and depth. Here you go. All right. Okay, so 20 yards. 20 yards or more. Nuss last night was 0 for 2 outside left, 0 for 1 between the numbers, 1 for 4 to the right. So 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's 1 of 7 throwing the ball 20 yards or more. Let's see. 10 to 20. He was 1 of 1 to the left, 0 of 1 in the middle, 2 of 2 to the right. And then in the 0 to 10 yards, 3 of 3 to the left, 5 of 5 in the middle, 7 of 9 to the right. So he really made his money there. And then behind the line of scrimmage, 1 of 1 to the middle, which I guess would have been a jet sweep. And then 2 of 2 to the right. He did not attempt to pass to the left at or behind the line of scrimmage. So he actually ate in that 0 to 10 yard range last night. And actually inside of 20, there's only 1 incompletion. Yay. So in the 0 to 20 yard range, he was 7, 9, 14, 8. He was 18 of 21. What's it? 18 of 21. So 0. And that actually, if you want to include behind the, like, basically anything up into 20 yards, he was 1, 2, 3, 10, 15, 18, 19. He was 21 of, I'm going to forget that. 21 of 2, 28 of 31. 1, is that right? 1, 2, 3. 28 of 31. So at or behind the line of scrimmage to 20 yards, he was 28 of 31. I mean, beyond 20 yards, he was 1 of 7. So I don't know, man. I don't think, like, you say he's throwing a deep ball game, the numbers don't support that at all. I mean, 28 of 31 from the line of scrimmage to the 20 yard mark. He only attempted 7 passes beyond 20 yards. So I don't know, man. Sometimes our eyes deceive us, and sometimes like we convince ourselves of a narrative, and then you only see the thing you're looking to see. But 28 of 31 from the line of scrimmage to 20 yards, I think that's pretty efficient, and that's the bulk of your throws. There are only 7 throws beyond that. Let's see. H-Town, I don't know what's going on with Emory Jones. He's not an OT in the NFL. He may be a guard at the next level. Andy, what was Durham's grade? He was, I think, the second highest graded player. No, I told you. Sorry. It was Campbell. So let's see. Durham was 4th. So Daniels, Campbell, Dellinger, Durham were your top 4 graded players. How about this? Bo Bordelon was next. Played 11 snaps, had a run blocking grade of 82.3. How beneficial is to have that guy? You know, you put he's an offensive lineman. You put the 89 jersey on and make him an H-back or an extra lineman in those run block situations. Good game there. I mean, he had the false start, which stunk. But aside from that, it was really good. Let's see. Murder Giraffe. Illinois uniforms are sick. Let's see. Going to the A&M game should be a blast. Bought my ticket in July for $130. I'm going to make $170 on it. Okay. My friend has a student ticket for me. There you go. Enterprising young fella. Ever been to Kyle Field? I have, both for an LSU game and a non-LSU game. I had a buddy who went to A&M, and I went there in 2002. It was before they renovated it. When I was actually the year they opened their end zone edition. As we sat in the end zone at the very top, but it was A&M Virginia Tech, and pretty sure it was 2002. Yep. Virginia Tech won 13-3. September 21st, 2002. I was there for that one. There were a lot of people frustrated with RC Slocum at that time because A&M had no offense. They had the wrecking crew defense. The defense was phenomenal. They just couldn't score. Went there, and then I was there in 2012, A&M's first year in the league. That was Johnny Manziel's Heisman year. LSU went there, windy day, and LSU went and beat A&M at Kyle Field that day. Yeah, I like Kyle Field. I think A&M people are, despite all the conversations we always have about A&M and the milkman and the hand signals and all the stuff, truly, like, A&M people are probably the most pleasant, most polite fans in the SEC, maybe in all of college football. That's just part of their culture, is the whole howdy culture and everything. Like, they may be weird, with all the traditions, but they really are a very, very delightful bunch. They're polite. There's not a ton of like animus, which is so weird. Why after the 7 overtime game, the fracas ensued with Jimbo's nephew or whatever the thing was. Like, go to College Station as a visiting fan, and you'll be treated great. Brett, Major Burns playing pretty well. He's playing great. He's playing the best football of his career because he's finally in his position. Like, Major Burns isn't a safety. He's not a cover safe. Like, the coverage part is the worst part of his game. But he can go. But he's physical at the point of attack. He can tackle in space. That star role is perfect for him. Hilton was there. JD had shots him in his jersey with wide receiver warm-up standing on the sideline. Yesterday? Gordy told me Hilton didn't travel. Huh. I wonder if it was for this game. I'm just curious now. I'm not saying you're wrong. I want to see it because I'm curious. See, there's the weeks. Boot. I don't see Jacques' picture of Hilton. I'm looking at his Twitter right now. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just looking for it because Gordy told me he didn't travel, that he was not on the travel squad. All right. All right, y'all. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Ryan, why did Les Miles start the Arkansas thing? I think in his mind, that's probably what it was initially called. And so he was called like 200 years ago, whatever. They probably called it Arkansas. I think it's funny. Daryl, great show. Love your shows. Thank you, Daryl. Very kind of you. Bobo, BBQ, and DIY. Matt, will Alabama lose one more game? 2010 was the last year. Saban had 3 losses in the season. Yes, I think Alabama's going to lose in Baton Rouge. That was my preseason prediction, was Bama would lose to Georgia, Tennessee, and LSU and go 9-3. They beat Georgia by the hardest and then lost to Vanderbilt. I did not have that, but I would certainly take that trade. Yes, I mean, absolutely. And they also have to play Missouri, which they get Missouri at home this week, which I don't think is a layup, depending on if Brady Cook is healthy, because to be perfectly honest, Alabama's defense is not very good. And with Theo Weiss and Luther Burden, if they can give Brady Cook time to throw, he could do damage in that secondary. Think about yesterday. If you watched the Bama-Tennessee game yesterday, how many times Tennessee had receivers open and Nico just missed him. I mean, there's 3 walk-in touchdowns I'm thinking of right now. One on the first possession of the game for Tennessee. Like, Nico may become an awesome player. He is not that now because he is an inaccurate passer. And that is a problem for that offense because like we saw last year with Joe Milton and this year with Nico, I mean, if you can't hit those deep shots, then you end up very quickly going 3 and out and put your defense right back on the field, which makes your offense a liability for your defense. If you go fast, fine, if you're putting up points because you're building a cushion for your defense. Otherwise, your defense has to be awesome. Now, Tennessee's defense has been really good, but the other part of it, too, is Jalen Milroe. Y'all, I keep asking someone who knows how to edit video to do this. I would love to see someone do a cut-up of Jalen Milroe's throws so people can see sequentially, not just look at a stat sheet, go look at his throws. There was a ball on the left sideline that he threw, like an out route to Ryan Williams. I mean, this is a throw a major college quarterback or an NFL quarterback, especially someone's first quarterback, has got to make. Ryan Williams had separation. Milroe's throwing across the field, out route to the left side, and sails it into the bench. There was a play where Ryan Williams, because Ryan Williams was targeted on every play, is coming across the formation, and Milroe, he's open. Milroe throws it behind him. Williams has to come back, slips, because he's coming back. He has to stop and come back from the football, slips and drops the ball. The interception in the end zone was absolutely hideous. He's a great athlete, and he's got a great arm. He is not a good quarterback. His accuracy is like, and you can go look at his completion percentage, whatever you want, like, but when you have a player like Ryan Williams that will catch 50-50 balls or will be wide open, yeah, of course you're going to complete those passes. But when you have to make those types of plays against coverage and hit receivers in stride and be moving on the run, like, telling y'all, he ain't good, bro. He ain't good, and everybody's seeing it. Let's see. Okay, George said Hilton was there. They showed him on TV pregame. Okay, good to know. Oh, off subject. Brian Thomas having a day right now. I forgot about the London game. All right, let's get going. We'll wrap this up here in a minute. Cortland, don't be dense about what? Kelly can't write a check. Who you talk? You're talking to somebody. I missed this convo. Okay, anyway, that's a convo about that y'all are having. Michael Castello, good morning. Wade, thoughts on the targeting reversal? Yeah, man, it's crazy. That's 2 weeks in a row where, I mean, last week it was Witt, this week it was Sage Ryan, where by the letter of the law, it's targeting. But I think what we're seeing now is I think refs are taking some subjectivity into this. I think they are looking and trying to determine intent, which is not part of the rule, but I think they're doing it. And no one will ever say publicly that they're doing that because there's all different types of liability. They're never going to change the targeting rule because of liability. Because you want to, but the rule is in place to protect players, and obviously because of, you look at what happened with NFL and the concussion lawsuit, like they're never going to soften injury rules. But I think we can all sensibly look at the targeting rule and a play like Devin White in 2018 or Whit Weeks last week and say, or Sage yesterday, Sage did everything right. He's going to make a big hit. He throws his head out of the way. He's leading with his shoulder so as not to have his head in the play. And he's aiming for the middle, but the receiver's coming down, and then his shoulder pad hits the kid in the face mask. Like, by the letter of the law, defenseless player, contact to the head. That's targeting. He should have been out of the game. But I think the officials looked at him and were like, kid did everything right, not throwing him out of the game. They'll never admit it, but I think that's what's happening. You're starting to see a growing sample. And it's not just on targeting. I mentioned this on Whiskey and Wine. If you were watching the Bama-Tennessee game, there was a play coming out of a change of possession. Tennessee was on offense. Well, change of possession, you have a right to substitute as a defense. So the ref should stand over the ball and let the defense substitute if they want. Well, Bama got caught in a situation where they were trying to run someone off and then someone on. They had too many players, and ultimately somebody just falls down and fakes an injury so they don't get hit with a 5-yard penalty. Well, the refs threw the flag anyway and hit him with an illegal participation penalty. I think they looked at it and said, this fake injury thing is so bogus. Like, if they can't police it with a rule, they're just going to police it themselves. And I don't have a problem. No one's ever going to admit to it. Like, the head of officiating isn't going to say publicly, yeah, we've told our officials to go ahead and use your own interpretation. They'll never say it, but you're starting to see a growing sample of it. The intercept or the touchdown reception last week was Xavion Thomas that got overturned. Like, it was ruled a touchdown on the field. You did not have indisputable video evidence. I mean, this isn't preponderance of the evidence. This isn't clear and convincing evidence if you want legal standards. This has to be like beyond reasonable doubt. This has to be even beyond that. This is indisputable. Like, could I dispute the Xavion Thomas play? Yes, you could. Now, do I think it hit the ground? I do. I think it did. But that's not indisputable. But they overturned it. I think refs are just taking some of this into their own hands now. Carvester, we should have kept Lance Hurd, moved Emory Jones to guard. No. First of all, Lance Hurd wanted $300,000 to stay, and they told him to kick rocks. And by the way, if you've watched Lance Hurd at Tennessee this year, he's been bad. I literally had someone from Tennessee last week text me jokingly, but said, hey, maybe y'all should tamper with Lance Hurd and get him back home. Like, he's not playing great at Tennessee. And he wanted $300K for this year. His NIL deal coming out of high school was right around 6 figures, and he wanted, and then obviously didn't play as a freshman, and then he wanted 300 this year, and they told him kick rocks. So, I'm telling you all these numbers. I don't care. So, and suffice to say also that maybe he hadn't been exactly the most model citizen around the program. So, no. If you think they should have kept Lance Hurd considering those circumstances, no. Tim, let's see. Black Connection. I thought BK jumped on Nuss for throwing in double coverage so much early, not taking wide open checkdowns. LSU's defense ranked higher than Bama in points per game. Let that sink in. It's not surprising. They give up 40 to Vanderbilt. Jared, okay. Nuss can be taking all day with the play. He was struggling with that in camp, calling timeouts. That's one of the things that Brian Kelly did say in fall camp was like, sometimes Garrett takes timeouts. He doesn't realize we don't have unlimited timeouts. And that happened yesterday a couple times too. And And I don't know necessarily that's taken all day. I think it's him looking for checks at the line and what the defense is showing and maybe not liking what he's seeing. Um, Oh, that's what y'all were talking about, Cortland, with the right to checks thing. That was that was the Lance Hurd thing. Yes. Kelly started as quarterbacks. That's how we turned Jaden into a guy that was scared to throw into a Heisman winner. That's more Joe Sloan than Brian Kelly, man. Sloan's quarterbacks coach. He's the one that works with the quarterbacks at practice. At practice, Kelly floats to all the different positions and units. Do you believe Weeks will be named an All-American this season? Depending on how the rest of the final, 5 games go, I think he's got a good shot. Probably not a first-team All-American, just because a lot of times to get honors like that, you got to have name recognition, and he wasn't a guy that was on the field every snap for the first month. So, tell you what though, man, go have a couple more big games. And go have a big game this week with everybody watching. Go have a big game against Bama when everybody's going to be watching. Go find out. Milrow's good running back. Milrow throws a good deep ball. That's about it. Not even, actually. I think that's a fallacy. I think you've seen him hit deep shots for 2 reasons. One, when he's got receivers wide open. And 2, he's thrown 50-50 balls, and he's just got better receivers that go make plays. Like, the play Ryan Williams made against Georgia is the quintessential example. That was a poorly thrown ball. That was a quarterback just throwing it up saying, I think my guy's better. I'm just going to give him a shot. He just threw a jump ball, and Ryan Williams made the play. For Jalen Milrow on the stat sheet, it goes down as a 75-yard touchdown pass. That was all Ryan Williams. Besides Chester, he's a freshman. Look at Eli Holstein at Pitt. What if Holstein was at Bama right now? Ramos got the game ball. Awesome. Deserves it. Let's see. Nuss was throwing multiple interceptions at Southern. Top 3 QB in the SEC. He's one of the tops in the country. Hey, man, again, like, that's a Joe. You got to give Joe Sloan his credit. That's not a Brian Kelly thing. That's a Sloan thing. I mean, even when Denbrock was the OC, Sloan was the quarterback's coach. Denbrock worked with tight ends. I'm telling you, you got to give Joe Sloan his flowers. He's the one working with the quarterbacks. By the way, Bryce Underwood loves Joe Sloan. Like, Sloan, I'm telling you, like, I'm not guessing. Sloan is the connective tissue here. Like, the quarterbacks love him. He's the one that coaches the quarterbacks. He very good recruiter. Anyway, DJ Chester will get better. Yeah, man, he's a redshirt freshman, but yes, like, he's starting for the first time. Yes, he's going to get better. I'm not surprised that a young guy start. Like, think about how different this line is if Marlon Martinez didn't go to Mississippi State. Marlon Martinez, in theory, could be your starting center, could be your swing guy on the offensive line. That'd be a senior, portal era, man. All right, y'all. What up, Chuck? Man? You know it, dude. I don't know what I'm gonna do though yet, Chuck. Someone asked me earlier today, what we're gonna do for Bama. I mean, when they lost to Vandy, I went all theatrical and wore the robe and did the Grim Reaper thing. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'm not gonna lead the show with it. And honestly, like, I picked Tennessee to win the game, so I'll think on it. We'll obviously do something on it, but I got to advance it. I can't wear the Grim Reaper suit again. Yeah, like you only, you know what I mean? You only get to play that card once. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let's see, Wade. Every time Nuss called a timeout, we converted the next play. Let's see.
Who is that?
Who
is that?
Blow.
Uh-oh.
Jim.
That is Jim.
It is Jim. So let's see. Wade, I hate to tell you this, bud. Let's see. LSU's second possession. 3rd and 8 from the 16-yard line. LSU calls a timeout. Coming out of the timeout, incomplete pass to Aaron Anderson. You threw a 33. You kicked a 33-yard field goal. So you're 0 for 1, Wade. Let's see. At the at the end of the first half, remember you got the ball at your own 2 when they punted you down. You threw the pass to CJ. Then they had the PI. You had first down at the 24. Caden Durham ran for no gain. Before the play on second down, you burned a timeout. You ended up just running up the clock. So you're 0 for 2, Wade. And then third for the drive that ended the third quarter, started the fourth quarter. You had 3rd and 5. You burned a timeout. You came out after 3rd and 5. Caden Durham ran for 2 yards. You end up kicking a field goal. So you're 0 for 3. And then here you go. Here you go, Wade. We got one for you. We got one. Jim. On the 14-play, 80-yard touchdown drive that ate up 8:22 off the clock. 3rd and 1, LSU burns a timeout. Come out of the timeout, Mason Taylor gets the 3-yard reception for a first down. So there you go, Wade. They called 4 timeouts, and they actually only converted on 1 of the 4. 1 of the plays after the 4. So no, Wade. Every time Nuss called a timeout, we didn't convert the next play. That you converted 1 out of 4. So you're about 25%. That's why you chart the game. The details matter. All right. Wade, get out. Wade said 1 out of 4. Get out of here, Wade. No, man. What, you don't take 1 out of 4? Your timeouts are valuable. Yes, to avoid penalties, for end of game and end of half scenarios. Come on, bro. 1 out of 4. Oh, man. See, bro, that's the thing. You don't come throw generalities out to a guy that's charting every game, watching every play. Well, Jim. Oh, it's who? Below. Okay, it's Blower. All right. Wade got cooked. Oh, man. All right. Let's see. All right. We might be done here. Thanks so much for watching. All of our great sponsors, they're linked in the description on YouTube and tagged on Facebook. If you need an orthopedic, go to Brock. After Hours Clinics open. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. Unique Physique, Restored Motions. Unique Physique, that's semaglutide, tirzepatide, the weight loss shots that you hear so much about. Never any contracts, lowest prices. Do the whole thing over telemed, so you don't have to go in the office. They can ship your medicine anywhere in the country. And Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Wish we ran the ball more. What are you talking about? Like, blue. I mean, LSU threw the ball 34 times. They ran the ball 37 times. What do you mean you wish they ran the ball more? Like, I don't know, man. Gulf South said the knee after the timeout was ridiculous. I think so. I was listening. I don't have a strong opinion on this, but I'll tell you this. I was listening to Richard Dixon and Hannah Griff. So after Whiskey and Wine, I was driving home. I was listening to him. And Dixon said his thought was the ball that Nuss threw right there before the timeout. Well, it wouldn't have been that. Oh, it was the PI. So it was the 2nd and 3 where they called PI. That maybe that spooked. Like they were going to, so then they came back and they ran with Caden Durham. And I think they were going to run out the clock. And because the PI was one where they're like, we can't turn the ball over. I mean, at that point, it was a 16-7 game. You got the stop. They're getting the ball to start the second half. And I think they didn't want to put the ball in harm's way. They're like, let's take our 16-7 lead. You know, we got a 2-score lead. Let's take that into the half. Let's not risk a turnover giving them the ball. So I think that's what Dixon said. He thought he's like they were gonna go for it because you got the ball with 1:09 at your own 2. And on first down, they threw the 7-yard pass to CJ. Then you got the PI. But I think what Dixon was saying was the PI probably spooked him to say, hey, because it was a bad ball and it could have been intercepted. And it was like, let's make sure we just get out of here with the and a half with the 9-point lead. So I don't know if that's what happened, but that was Dixon's point. So it made sense. Okay, let's get out of here. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks. We don't have to watch the Saints lose today. That's a good thing. We just get to sit back, watch some NFL. We'll have tons of good stuff up at LouisianaSports.net. Y'all please check it out. I know we'll have Hunt's LSU's PFF grades will be posted here shortly. Below. So you see all the grades for this LSU grades for Pro Football Focus. We'll have that up maybe in the next 10 minutes or so. I know because I'm going to publish it and do it after I do this. Hi, Drew. All right. Well, later we're going to go to the mall. Ride the elevators at the mall. What do you think about that?
JCPenney.
You want to go to JCPenney's at the mall? Yeah? All right. Y'all have an awesome day.